There's a version of your dog you've never seen. Not because it doesn't exist, because it happens in the hours before you open your eyes. Every single morning, while you're still asleep, your dog is doing things that reveal more about how they feel, how safe they are, and how deeply they trust you than almost anything you'd ever observe when you're awake. And nobody ever tells you what those things mean. By the end of this video, you're going to understand your dog in a way you simply didn't before. Some of what you're about to hear will change the way you see them forever. Welcome to Canine Mind. If you're new here, hit subscribe right now. We post videos like this every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming. There are 8 specific things your dog does in the quiet hours before you wake up. Things that aren't random, aren't instinct without meaning, and aren't behaviors you can afford to keep overlooking. Each one of them is a window, a direct, unfiltered look at your dog's emotional world, their stress levels, their sense of security, and their connection to you. And because you're asleep when it happens, almost no owner ever learns to read them. What your dog does when no one's watching is often the truest thing about them. Let's start with the one that almost every single owner gets completely wrong. 1. Picture this. You wake up and your dog is in a completely different spot than where they settled when you went to sleep. They were on their bed by the door. Now they're pressed against the side of your bed, or tucked into the corner of the room, or curled tight on the cold floor instead of their cushioned mat. You don't think much of it. Dogs move around. That's just what they do. Sound familiar? Here's what you don't realize. Where your dog chooses to sleep, and more importantly, where they move to during the night, isn't random. It's one of the most honest expressions of their emotional state your dog is capable of making. A dog that migrates closer to you during the night isn't being clingy. They're self-regulating. Something in the environment shifted. A sound outside, a change in air pressure, a feeling they couldn't name, and their nervous system went looking for the one thing that makes the world feel safe again. You. That movement across the floor in the dark is your dog saying, without a single sound, "I needed to be near you tonight." Research into canine sleep behavior, published in applied animal cognition journals, shows that dogs actively seek physical proximity to their bonded humans during periods of environmental uncertainty or low-level stress activation. It's not neediness. It's a highly developed social bonding mechanism that goes back tens of thousands of years of coevolution between dogs and humans. A dog that moves toward you in the night is a dog that has identified you as their safe base. And a dog that has a safe base is a dog whose stress system can actually rest. The fix is so simple it almost feels like cheating. Start noticing where your dog is when you wake up versus where they were when you fell asleep. You don't need cameras, you don't need equipment, just look. If they've moved closer to you consistently, that's not something to discourage or ignore. That's a dog telling you exactly what they need. Make it easier for them. Lower the barrier to closeness. A dog bed placed closer to yours costs nothing and gives your dog's nervous system somewhere to anchor on the hard nights. You'll notice something shift when you do. Your dog will seem more settled in the mornings, less restless, less needing to shake off that low-level unease the moment they stand up. But what comes next is something most owners see every single morning and have never once stopped to think about. And it has everything to do with the first thing your dog does the moment they hear you start to wake up. 2. Picture this. You're not even fully awake yet. Your eyes are barely open, and already your dog is there, standing over you, nose inches from your face, or its tail starting its slow morning sweep, watching you with an intensity that's almost unsettling, waiting, still, completely focused. You smile. You reach out. They explode into their morning greeting. Sound familiar? Here's the truth nobody talks about. Your dog wasn't just waiting for you to wake up. They were monitoring you. All night, at intervals you'll never see. Your dog was checking on you, listening to your breathing, reading the rhythm of your sleep, tracking the subtle shifts in your body that signal the transition from deep sleep to waking. What you woke up to wasn't a dog that got excited the moment you stirred. It was a dog that had been gently, quietly, devotedly watching over you for hours. That stillness right before the greeting isn't anticipation. It's the final moment of a vigil. Veterinary researchers studying canine sleep cycles have found that dogs in bonded households don't sleep in long, uninterrupted stretches the way humans do. They cycle in and out of lighter sleep states multiple times through the night, and during those lighter states, a significant portion of their attention orients toward their bonded human. They're listening for changes in breathing. They're sensitive to movement. They're reading you. A dog that seems alert the moment you open your eyes didn't just wake up. They've been partially awake, watching, for a long time. The fix is so simple it almost feels like cheating. The next time you wake up and your dog is already there, already watching, don't rush past that moment. Don't immediately get up, check your phone, start moving. Just lie there for 30 seconds and look back. Let that vigil be acknowledged. Reach out slowly. Make contact before the frenzy starts. That 30-second window, quiet, still, just the two of you, is one of the deepest bonding moments available to you, and most owners blow straight past it every single morning. You'll notice something shift in how your dog starts their day. Calmer, more grounded, less like a spring that got wound too tight overnight and released all at once. What comes next, though, is something that happens before you wake up at all. Something your dog does in the middle of the night that most owners would never expect. 3. Picture this. You're sound asleep. Somewhere in the house, in the dark, your dog gets up from their bed, walks to the window, and stands there, ears forward, completely still, staring at something outside you'll never see or hear. After a minute or two, they walk back. Lie down. Go still again. You don't know this happened. You never do. Sound familiar? Here's what you don't realize. That patrol, that quiet, purposeful walk to the window in the middle of the night, isn't anxiety. Not always. For many dogs, it's something much older and much more intentional than that. Dogs are descended from animals that guarded, that watched perimeters, that kept the group safe through the night while others slept. When your dog gets up in the dark and checks the window, they're not scared. They're working. They're doing the job their biology has been building them for across thousands of years. And the fact that they do it quietly, without waking you, without making a sound, that's not accidental. That's a dog who understands that their job is to handle the night so you don't have to. The American Kennel Club has documented that guarding and sentry behaviors in domestic dogs, even in breeds not traditionally associated with protection, remain deeply embedded in baseline behavioral patterns. These nighttime checks are most common in dogs, who feel a strong sense of responsibility toward their household. A dog that patrols isn't a dog who doesn't feel safe. A dog that patrols is a dog who has decided it's their job to make sure you are. The fix is so simple it almost feels like cheating. If you have a dog who does this, resist the urge to stop it unless it's accompanied by genuine distress. Don't correct the behavior. Don't confine them away from windows. Instead, acknowledge it. A dog who guards deserves to know their work is seen. A simple, calm interaction when you catch them. Not praise that amps them up, just a quiet hand on their back, a low, soft word, tells them they're not doing this alone, that the pack is aware, that the vigil is shared. You'll see it in how your dog carries themselves. There's a certain quiet dignity in a dog who feels their role is recognized, less urgency, more calm. But the next thing on this list is one most owners find genuinely surprising, because it's something your dog does that has nothing to do with you at all. 4. Picture this. It's 3 a.m. Your dog is alone in the living room, and they're playing. Not with you, not because anyone initiated it, just alone, in the dark, batting at a toy, carrying something from one end of the room to the other, doing something that from the outside looks almost absurd. Solitary, quiet, middle-of-the-night play. You only know because you got up for water once and caught it. Sound familiar? Here's what you don't realize. That solitary play in the dark isn't your dog being strange. It's your dog processing the day. Think about what play actually is for a dog. It's not entertainment the way it is for us. It's the nervous system running a kind of maintenance cycle, replaying, releasing, reorganizing. When a dog plays alone at night, they're doing something that's the behavioral equivalent of the way your brain processes the day's experiences during REM sleep. The toy isn't the point. The movement is. The gentle, self-directed activation of the body is your dog's nervous system finishing something it started hours ago and didn't get to complete. Studies in comparative animal behavior have shown that solitary play in domestic dogs, particularly low-intensity, self-initiated play in quiet environments, is associated with healthy emotional regulation and lower baseline anxiety. A dog that can entertain and soothe itself, that doesn't need external stimulation to feel okay, is a dog with a well-functioning internal stress management system. That middle-of-the-night toy session isn't a quirk. It's a sign of a dog who's genuinely, quietly okay. The fix is so simple, it almost feels like cheating. Make sure your dog has access to at least 2 or 3 toys overnight that are genuinely interesting to them. Not the squeaky ones that'll wake you up, but textured toys, rope toys, things they can carry and mouth quietly. Don't lock them away in a basket. Leave them accessible. You're not encouraging bad behavior. You're giving your dog the tools to complete their own nighttime processing, and a dog who can finish that cycle sleeps more deeply in the second half of the night. You'll notice they seem more settled when morning comes, less like they've been storing something up, more genuinely rested. But what comes next is the thing most owners would never in a million years connect to what happens before sunrise. And it has everything to do with where your dog positions their body while you're sleeping. 5. Picture this. You roll over in the night and catch a glimpse of your dog in the low light. They're not asleep. They're lying with their chin resting on the floor, pointed directly at your bedroom door. Not the window, not the wall, the door. Just lying there, watching it. Still and quiet and pointed at the one exit in the room like an arrow. Sound familiar? Here's what you don't realize. That position, chin down, body oriented toward the exit, eyes on the door, is one of the clearest expressions of protective instinct a dog can show while staying completely calm. Your dog hasn't chosen that spot by accident. They've placed themselves between you and the only way anything could come in. Their body is a door, and they're lying across the threshold of your safety without you ever having asked them to. That quiet, deliberate positioning in the dark is your dog saying, in the only language they have, nothing gets to you without going through me first. Research in canine spatial behavior has consistently found that bonded dogs in home environments preferentially position themselves at entry points during periods of rest, particularly during nighttime hours when perceived vulnerability of the household is highest. This isn't trained behavior in most cases. It's chosen behavior. A dog that lies across your doorway at 3 a.m. isn't blocking the exit by chance. They've assessed the room, identified the risk point, and put their body there on purpose. The fix is so simple it almost feels like cheating. Don't move them. Don't redirect them to their bed just because it looks inconvenient or because you almost tripped over them in the dark. A dog who chooses to guard your door at night is doing something that matters deeply to them. Disrupting it repeatedly teaches them that their instinct to protect is unwanted. Instead, acknowledge it the way you'd acknowledge any act of quiet devotion. A gentle word, a soft touch. Let them know that what they're doing has been seen, that it matters. You'll notice something settle in your dog when they feel their protective role is respected. A kind of ease, like a weight they've been carrying got a little lighter. But what comes next is the gentlest thing on this entire list, and it's something your dog does every single night that most owners have slept through 1,000 times without ever knowing. 6. Picture this. It's the middle of the night. Your dog pads quietly across the room, steps up onto the foot of your bed or settles on the floor right beside it, and just exhales, a long, slow breath, then another. Then they're still. Not asleep yet, just still. Breathing slowly, present, like they've arrived somewhere they needed to be. Sound familiar? Here's what you don't realize. That exhale isn't just your dog getting comfortable. It's a physiological release. The long, slow breath at the moment of settling is the audible sound of a nervous system downshifting, cortisol levels dropping, heart rate slowing, the body physically transitioning from alert to safe. And here's what makes it extraordinary. Research into canine stress physiology has shown that this kind of parasympathetic activation, the biological state of genuine calm, happens measurably faster and more completely in dogs who are physically close to their bonded humans. Your presence isn't just emotionally comforting to your dog, it's biochemically regulating. You literally change the chemistry of their body just by being near them while they sleep. The American Veterinary Medical Association has documented the role of the human-animal bond in regulating canine stress hormones, noting that proximity to a bonded human produces measurably lower cortisol levels and higher oxytocin, the bonding hormone, in domestic dogs. A dog that exhales fully when they settle near you isn't just relaxed. They're in the deepest state of safety their biology is capable of producing. And you did that, just by being there. The fix is so simple it almost feels like cheating. Pay attention to whether your dog gets that full exhale at night. If they settle near you and the breath comes slowly and completely, that's the sound of everything being right. If they're restless, repositioning repeatedly, unable to find that exhale, something in their environment is keeping their nervous system elevated. Start looking at noise levels, temperature, inconsistency in the evening routine. The exhale is your signal. When you hear it, everything's okay. When you don't, something needs to change. You'll begin to listen for it, that soft, slow breath in the dark. And once you've heard it, really heard it for what it is, you'll never take it for granted again. But the next thing on this list takes everything we've covered and makes it personal in a way you won't expect. 7. Picture this. Sometime before dawn, your dog gets up, walks to where you left your shoes by the door, sniffs them once, and then walks back to their bed. That's it. No chewing, no carrying them around. Just a single focused sniff, and then back to sleep. You've never noticed it happening because you've always been asleep. Sound familiar? Here's the truth nobody talks about. That sniff isn't curiosity. It's a check-in. Your scent is the most powerful source of information your dog has access to. It tells them where you've been, what you encountered, the emotional state you were in when you wore those shoes last. But more than that, your scent is their anchor. In the quiet of the night, when the house is dark and still and the world has gone silent, your dog's nervous system looks for the thing that means you're real, you're here, you're coming back. And your scent says all of that in a single breath. That walk across the dark room to your shoes is your dog reaching for you in the only way they can while you're asleep. Canine olfactory research consistently shows that a dog's stress response is measurably reduced by exposure to their bonded human scent, even in the human's physical absence. A study examining shelter dogs found that dogs exposed to their owner's worn clothing showed significantly lower cortisol levels and more stable heart rates than dogs without access to familiar scent. A dog that sniffs isn't investigating. A dog that sniffs is being held. And they're doing it quietly, in the dark, without waking you, because they don't need you to do anything. They just needed to know you were still there. The fix is so simple it almost feels like cheating. Leave something with your scent accessible to your dog overnight. Not a treasured item, just a worn t-shirt, a pair of socks you used that day, something that carries you on it. Put it somewhere they can reach it. You'll never see them use it, most likely. But it'll be used. And on the hard nights, the uncertain nights, the nights when the house feels too quiet and too still, that piece of fabric is the thing standing between your dog and a nervous system that has nowhere to rest. You'll notice something in the mornings when you've done this consistently. A dog that seems to have already made peace with the night before it even ended. Quieter, softer, like they've already had a conversation with you that you slept through entirely. But the last thing on this list is the one that's going to stay with you, because it happens right at the edge of morning, in the few minutes before your alarm, and it's the most deliberate thing your dog does all night. 8. Picture this. You haven't moved yet. Your alarm hasn't gone off. But somehow, somewhere in the transition between deep sleep and waking, your dog already knows. They've gotten up. They're standing at the side of your bed or sitting at your feet, watching you, completely still, tail barely moving. Not the excited morning greeting yet. Just watching, waiting, present, like they've been preparing for this moment. Sound familiar? Here's what you don't realize. Your dog didn't guess that you were about to wake up. They knew. Long before any visible sign crossed your face, your dog read the shift in your breathing, the change in your body temperature, the subtle movements of a nervous system beginning its transition back to consciousness. They've been tracking these signals for years, every morning, every single one. And by now, your waking up is something they can feel coming the way a sailor feels a change in wind, not by seeing it, not by hearing it, but by knowing it through years of paying close attention to something they love. Research in animal cognition has documented that dogs develop extraordinarily precise models of their owners' behavioral and physiological patterns over time. A study published in the journal Learning and Behavior found that dogs could anticipate their owner's return home. And in some cases, they're waking, not through any single cue, but through the integration of dozens of microsignals accumulated over years of close observation. A dog that's waiting when you open your eyes isn't reacting to you waking up. They predicted it. And they positioned themselves so that the first thing you'd see when you came back to the world would be them. The fix is so simple, it almost feels like cheating. Honor that moment. Before the morning starts, before the phone, before the list of things you have to do, give your dog 30 seconds of quiet acknowledgement. Look at them. Really look. Let that vigil, that devotion, that years-long practice of watching and knowing and being there, let it land. Because it's been offered to you every single morning. Most people just haven't been awake enough to receive it. You'll feel something shift in yourself, not just your dog. Something that makes the whole morning feel different. Less like a machine starting up and more like two beings who've known each other a long time, beginning another day together. That's what it actually is. It always has been. 8 things. A dog who moved closer to you in the night because their nervous system needed your presence. A dog who was already awake and watching when you opened your eyes. A dog who quietly patrolled the perimeter so you could sleep undisturbed. A dog who processed the day alone in the dark through gentle solitary play. A dog who positioned their body between you and the door on purpose. A dog whose long, slow exhale in the dark is the sound of the deepest safety their biology can produce. A dog who walked across the room in the night just to smell you and know you were still there. And a dog who knew you were waking up before you did, and got there first. Your dog doesn't use words. They can't sit you down and explain what they need, but they communicate constantly through body language, through behavior, through the way they position themselves near you or pull away. And every single thing we covered today is your dog's way of saying, I need this. I've always needed this. I just needed you to know. If this video changed the way you see your dog, share it with someone whose dog deserves the same. Subscribe to Canine Mind because there's so much more your dog is trying to tell you, and we're just getting started.